The story of Vargas begins with its goal of reducing global CO2 emissions by 1% through its companies, as well as the belief that it won't just be one technology or app that will create a sustainable future. But the new sustainability requirements will instead require all companies to rethink and rebuild their operations. And as they do, society will reweave the fabric of which it's built, company after company and industry after industry. This reweaving requires a new wave of impact entrepreneurs. They'll help companies face the demanding transformation needed to become sustainable. And so in 2014, with $20 billion raised, Vargas is born, a holding company that identifies, validates, finances, launches, and scales impact companies. Among their companies are Northvolt, with the planet's greenest batteries, Syre with the only circular textile, and H2 Steel with scalable green steel. As they revolutionize industry after industry, Vargas has developed a playbook for how to build, fund, and scale impact companies in any industry. And we believe that every ambitious, impact-hungry entrepreneur should study this playbook to maximize their impact. But how did Vargas get started? And how successful are they? And what can we learn from their playbook? Vargas profiles themselves as impact company builders. Their playbook, or so-called greenfield model, is based on building competitive and commercially viable companies from the ground up, based on large-scale projects, vertical integration, and close customer collaboration. And that's what they've successfully been doing since their start in 2014. As society increasingly screamed for more batteries, Vargas launched Northvolt, which mitigates the environmental issues batteries would cause. Northvolt is currently building and selling the world's greenest batteries, which will soon produce a 90% lower carbon footprint compared to regular batteries using coal energy. At the current rate, with just 1 out of 6 factories, they supply almost the equivalent of Sweden, Norway, and Finland's total annual new EV sales volume. Vargas has also launched H2 Green Steel, which targets one of the world's dirtiest industries. The steel industry is responsible for more than 7% of global CO2 emissions. And H2 Green Steel solves that by producing green steel that cuts CO2 emissions by 95% through digitized production using green hydrogen and renewable energy instead of coal. And a third company Vargas has launched is Syre, which is a textile impact company with a mission to decarbonize and de-waste the textile industry, which accounts for 10% of global CO2 emissions. A majority of old textiles are either put in landfills or burnt. Syre is solving this through textile-to-textile recycling at a hyper scale. The solution is simple: break down old polyester, recreate it, and spin the new yarn onto a roll, which is sold to the textile industry for clothes, car interiors, furniture, or you name it. Although Vargas could be seen as yet another holding company, with an added sustainability tag to appear more modern, the reality differs. Their core mission influences every action of the company. So to meet their mission, they have to think big and rethink all existing solutions, which interestingly leads Vargas to revolutionize every industry they enter. And as they do, they force all players in the industry to adapt to the new baseline. So what is the Vargas playbook, and how does it work in practice? One might think the Vargas playbook must be both complex and costly, but one would only be half right. The Vargas playbook is based on large-scale projects, vertical integration, and close customer collaboration. Costly, yes, but not necessarily complex, as the playbook begins with the problem. For instance, when Volkswagen sought assistance to become sustainable, Vargas created first Northvolt batteries and later H2 Steel. Similarly, when H&M wanted to meet their sustainability goals, they turned to Vargas, which led to the launch of Syre. But don't expect companies to always come running. Even when tackling emissions in the case of Era, Vargas reviewed an emissions map to find the source of emissions, and they found that gas furnaces, yes, gas, heated 95% of Europe's homes. This problem-first approach ensures impactful, targeted solutions that drive real change. And as a problem is defined, the second step of the Vargas playbook is to find the root causes of these problems. This means thoroughly reviewing the processes and the supply chain to the targeted industry. With Northvolt, Vargas determined that the world's battery need would never be sustainably supplied if China continued to import materials and power their battery factories by burning coal. Nor would it be sustainable if old batteries weren't properly recycled. H2 Steel had a similar issue. With most steel manufacturers creating steel in old factories by burning coal and importing iron ore, the emissions caused from burning and transporting would never be acceptably low. So Vargas found that a new digitized green steel factory could be based on Sweden's abundant clean energy and vast iron resources. These factories could then be built all over the globe. With their home heating company Syre, Vargas found that no company owned the entire supply chain, and each company in the distribution line would add its margins, leading to heat pumps costing up to 5 times more than the production cost. This was more expensive than people in Europe could afford. So Syre would vertically integrate all stages and become the producer, distributor, and installer of heat pumps. They also increased their offering by adding solar panels and batteries to supply and store the energy needed for the pumps. Furthermore, they boosted their business model by leveraging economies of scale and building giant factories for heat pumps to improve their margins. With the inefficiencies solved and a solution in hand, most entrepreneurs would race to build and sell their products, a risky approach as it requires upfront investment to build the products. But the Vargas playbook is different. The play is to reduce upfront risk by securing multi-year purchase agreements with customers. Customers will get an insured supply of the product, and thus the solution to meet their sustainability targets, though at a premium price. This shifts the risks from finding customers to delivering the product on time. For example, H2 Steel secured a €130 million deal with Kirchhoff. Northvolt has a $14 billion purchase agreement with Volkswagen. And Syre locked in a multi-year contract worth €600 million with H&M. The customers are now secured through a solid business model. What's missing is the product and the factories to supply it in massive volumes. So you'll have to think big, really big. And this requires capital. Utilizing economies of scale means better purchase prices and lower production costs, resulting in better margins and higher impact. So now you'll have to raise capital through investors, banks, or funds. For instance, Volkswagen invested €900 million for 20% ownership and a seat on the board of Northvolt. Syre raised €200 million, and Syre recently raised a €100 million Series A round from H&M Group, Giant, IMS, Norskin, and Volvo. Now you have a problem, a solution, customer signed, and capital raised to build a factory. So the missing piece would then to be assemble a team. The team would have to manage large projects and build a company culture that will endure from a few employees up to a few thousand. Northvolt grew to over 6,500 employees in just a few years, and H2 Green Steel has since its foundation in 2020 grown to 200 employees within just a few years, just to meet the offtake agreements with the initial customers. In our opinion, if you're looking to make an impact and have the energy to build a company, the Vargas playbook is a great start, as it's been proven to work again and again. The unfortunate truth is that implementing this playbook will require an insane amount of willpower and grit, but also luck. But you know what they say, luck favors the bold. So the most impactful thing you can do would be to just get started with something and reach out to collaborate with others. Good luck. Hey, we hope you liked this video. It was based on an audio story from and about Harold Mix, the co-founder of Vargas. Finding great stories that are both entertaining and educational can be quite hard. That's why we and hundreds of thousands of others love Audible. It's a vast library of books in audio format and other stories that can get you laughing, inspired, or even smarter. Sign up for a 30-day free listening trial using our link below in the description.